A wonderful good afternoon or good evening. Where are you tuning in today? Are you tuning in from Northern Bavaria? Then it's good afternoon. If you're tuning in from Singapore, it's later in the night. Still prime time though, 10 p.m. Is that
That's
right,
right.
Joseph?
Absolutely, absolutely. It
Yeah.
is. It is prime time, and I love how you put it. Actually, it is definitely prime time here in Singapore. It's even better prime time if you're in India or in Europe, where you are. Yeah, and people are waking up on the other side of the planet in the US. So yeah, great timing.
Correct. We're connecting the global world here, global LinkedIn world. And thank you so much, Joseph, for joining my show today. And yeah,
It's my pleasure.
let's start it with your career. I mean, we had a small pre-chat right now. I
Uh
find
huh.
that so interesting. You were moving to Singapore and now in the process of moving further. But I leave the show to you. Please introduce yourself.
Well, thank you so much, Ilkay. It's a pleasure to obviously be a part of the show. Thank you for obviously inviting me to your show. So yeah, just to in a nutshell, I have been in Singapore now for the last 7 years. Originally from India, moved to Australia for my bachelor's as well as my master's, and started working there. So my adult life, my corporate career, everything was back in Australia, and moved here to Singapore. Been here for the last 7 years now, and looking forward to my new journey coming up very soon. Hopefully, touch wood. Obviously, with what is happening in the world with regards to COVID clarity, as you like to
Yeah.
call it, and the new normal. So a lot of delays have happened with regards to a lot of elements, both personally as well as professionally. I'm sure for everyone in the world. So yeah, I've always been interesting. I mean, my life has spanned a lot of different interesting occasions, so to speak. So in school, I was a through and through science student, physics, chemistry, computers. In university, I went into accounting and finance. So I'm a CPA in Australia, and but I've never worked in the directly for a bank or in an accounts receivable position. I've always been in a client facing role in sales, business development, and marketing. Um, I guess it's just because I love connecting with people. I love building relationships. I love nurturing them for the long term. So I've always been in a client facing position in sales, business development, and marketing. Mainly in strategy positions as well, with regards to
Mhm,
go-to-market strategies, as well as going in as a management consultant for
mhm,
both MNCs as well as SMEs from around the
mhm.
world. So it's been an amazing journey, I would say. You get to meet a lot of amazing people from around the world, which is great.
Yeah, you have already experienced quite a lot in your life. So as you were speaking, I was
Yeah,
watching the comments. So you got already a comment that is from yourself. Thanks for getting the link out to our followers.
yeah, my
So
pleasure.
uh, from from wherever you are tuning in right now. So once you are clicking in, please let us know from where you are joining our LinkedIn Live. And if you hear and see us in a good way, because sometimes live streams can be a bit shaky, and please give us some sort of feedback whether you can hear and see us in a good way. So Joseph,
Absolutely.
I'm happy
Hmm.
to have you here because we have a lot of parallels in our lives. So my first business is I'm a business development consultant here in Germany, and I'm
Hmm.
helping mid-sized companies, SMEs, in their business development, particularly for lightweight technologies, that is fiber reinforced plastics, a very small, let's say, niche market in industry.
Yep.
And export, and like you said, the customer facing role also
Yep.
accompanied me all my life.
Hmm.
Although I have an MBA and I'm commercially trained, let's say, or qualified,
Hmm.
always I looked at the export and sales side as the side which is very exciting to me.
Hmm.
So let's start with one point that I'm
Sure.
getting often asked, and that is, what is actually business development? Many
Hmm.
people have and struggle to differentiate between a sales role and a business development role. What is
Hmm.
your personal stance on this? Is there a difference for you?
Well, yes and no. I would, in my opinion, in my personal opinion, this is something which a lot of people, I've had debates with a lot of people with regards to this. So, in my opinion, sales, business development, and marketing is basically like the trident, you know, like Neptune's trident. That is the approach that all businesses should take. Like they are very similar as well as different, but that's where they need to come together and work together moving forward. Now, sales and business development is obviously a lot closer together than marketing, because marketing and branding is on the other side, but they both work together towards the common goal. So, I mean, sales is something, in my opinion, is something which we are faced with, each and every one of us around the world, every single day of every single moment. What do I mean by that? So let's say, for example, if you were going out with a group of friends, right? And y'all decided to, go to a restaurant for dinner. Now, obviously, a lot of you will have different suggestions, preferences, so to speak, but you'll always end up agreeing to one particular, restaurant or one particular destination. So keeping that in mind, that is a sales process as well, where the person who has actually or who did suggest that particular destination was the one who was the best salesman among all of you, if that makes sense. And that
Absolutely.
is and that is something which most people forget. And this is something which I'm a firm believer of, that we are part of the sales process at every single moment of every single day. Where business development comes in, so sales is basically the ability to be able to, or having the courage to being able to let your network know, let people around you know what you do. Business development is literally the act of going out to your network and hustling. What do I mean by hustling? Pick up the phone, you picking up the phone, going and trying to sort of talk to a prospect. That is the business development element of it, where you need to let go of those inhibitions and fears. And that's where a lot of people, feel that sales and business development are easy. No, it's not. It's one of the most difficult careers that one can actually have, because you need to have the skin of a rhino, in my opinion, because you are going to get rejections. And that's where that business development acumen comes in. So the sales and business development are very, very closely intertwined. In my opinion, they can even be the same word and the same thing, because, there's hardly anything that actually differentiates them, because the main element of sales and business development is you being able to let your client know what you do and how you can basically provide them, or rather alleviate their pain points by giving them the right solutions. So that is the sales and business development process, in my opinion.
Absolutely correct. And I may add
Yep.
something for the differentiation. I have
Mm-hmm.
adapted myself. For me, it is also that in a sales role, you have usually a solution that is ready, that
Mm-hmm.
is possibly fit to go for the market. And in
Mm-hmm.
business development, you are still trying to figure out what is the market fitness.
Spot
So
on.
yeah, this would be sort of my differentiation. But of course,
Mm-hmm.
they are interlinked with each other. The sales gives
Mm-hmm.
feedback to business development, and business
Mm-hmm.
development makes sure with the R&D or the construction guys to make a fit product for the market. Wonderful.
Precisely,
Yeah,
precisely, precisely. And see, and just to add to that a little bit, Ilkay, I mean, and you differentiated it very, very nicely and very succinctly, because the business development element is where the element of you being a client partner comes into effect, because you long gone are the days when you've got one specific solution and one specific product which you're basically trying to get your client to purchase from you. You have to make sure that you're trying to get to their real needs and requirements, and then basically formulating your product or service around their needs and requirements. And that is the most important element in business development at this present moment. Are you being the client partner that you need to be, to basically have that human connection, have that emotional connect with your client for the long term? Because the human connection is something which we have understood, especially during this time of COVID reality, so to speak, because we are all yearning for that human connection that we had thought maybe even a year ago that, artificial intelligence and robotics and machine learning would have taken away from business processes, so to speak. But now we know for a fact that the human connection and the emotional connect that people need to have to be able to make that buying decision moving forward is so important. So sales and business development are very, very important. They are the heart of any business, in my opinion. They are the ones which are pumping out the revenue for each and every other department to being able to spend money on other elements. So
Yes.
the sales and business department is the most important part of any company. It's the lifeblood of a business.
Agreed, fully agreed. But that doesn't mean, because I'm coming from a production background, that all the other departments are not needed. They are needed also,
Absolutely.
but there's some sort of push in the company or pull, however you look at it, that brings the lifeblood into circulation. And then you got your kidney, you got your lungs, and everything has to work together so that the body, the company works along very well. Joseph, do we want to look at our comments? So we have a few viewers. Then Diane from Austria is watching us. Thanks, Diane, for watching. She says all perfect. Then we got Archana Garg. More power to you both. Joseph, my best wishes, she said. So you know her. Joshua Miller says, you are an amazing resource for so many. Absolutely agreed.
Thank you.
Yusuf, you get? Okay. You bet. Yes, corrected. And then Tahsin Manan, thanks for watching, Tahsin. Very informative, she says. This is wonderful. Greetings. Interesting topic. Then we have Jainda Singh Negi. I hope I pronounce your names in the right way. If not, please accept my apologize. She says, he says, Avsam team up. Thank you, Jainda, for watching us and for your loyalty. And Birgit is coming from Germany, tuning in. She says, totally agree with you. Thank you, Birgit, for your comment and for you watching here. So let me come back to what you said in the last paragraph. You mentioned, I have to switch Birgit off again. You mentioned the human connection side of business development. Now let me explore this together with you.
Yep.
I have sometimes the impression, I don't know whether this is the same in Singapore, Australia, or in the part of the world where you are right now, but we have, unfortunately, a little the trend in the digitalization of, LinkedIn and other platforms.
Yeah.
There is a perception of some people, they give you they sell you the dream that you can create customers on a push of a button. Automation. Yeah. So you reach out to someone with an email. He may download a white paper, an ebook, and then you sell him a service. So this is what we call customer on a button pressing. Now you are coming here, Joseph, and you say human connection is important. Your strategic nature of your business development is with the human connection. Could you just contrast both worlds for me, please?
Absolutely. And that's a great question. And that's where, as I mentioned, if you remember, Alkar, right at the beginning, as to how sales, business development, marketing, and branding, they're all part of the bigger structure, of the bigger picture when it comes to business processes, especially with regards to going out and basically, advising your clients as to what your products and services are. And that is so important to keep in mind. And this is where the human connection is that link between your sales and business development and your marketing and branding. Because people are becoming brands themselves, right? What do I mean by that? Now, if you think about it, there are a few people who are known, very well known worldwide, and much better known than their brands per se. People like, for example, Bill Gates, Richard Branson, Jack Ma, Warren Buffett, for example. Elon Musk, absolutely. So they have become brands in themselves, right? And the reason that they have become brands, and the reason as to why people resonate with who they are as a person, is because they actually went out there to basically let people know who they are rather than what they do. What do I mean by that? People buy people. Simple as that, period. Okay. And that is what more businesses, especially those in a leadership position, need to focus on. They need to focus on getting to ensure that people in senior positions within the company are sort of professing themselves and their values towards what they believe in, what makes them tick, and what they resonate with, because that is what their target audience will resonate with ideally. Now, for example, I mean, it's essential in today's world. Like, people do not just buy a product based on specifications. They buy it or they purchase it based on that consumer experience. And that is so important. And that's where that branding element comes in. That's where that human connection comes in. That's the reason why we are getting so much, we've had so much sort of a focus on influencer marketing. I don't like the word influencer, but that is the reason as to why there is so many brands who are bringing on people who are well known for who they are in their specific industries, based on their values and based on who they are as a person, who are promoting certain products and solutions that brands have, because they are focusing on that human connection that their brand ambassador has with their intended target audience. And that is something which is very important for people to keep in mind. And that is why the human connection moving forward is something which is going to be very, very important for companies to focus on. So, as I've always said, especially with people who follow me on LinkedIn, they would know that I've put a lot of emphasis in basically senior leadership in companies to be able to walk the talk, to make sure that their real life, like in front of the camera, is equal to their real life. They need to make sure that they are practicing what they preach themselves, and that is essential, because when you are the brand ambassador of a particular company, when you're in a senior leadership position within a company, your main focus needs to be that your personal brand and your personal values are aligned with your company's values and offerings. And that is where the human connection is so important. Now, the human connection is not just the company as well as the consumers. No, the human connection includes obviously your internal consumers, who are your employees, and that is what leadership teams should focus on very, very clearly, because your internal consumers, which are your employees, are your best brand ambassadors. You treat them well, and they will give that additional 10%, that additional 5%, even that additional 1%, which can make a world of difference in what you're doing worldwide.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I'm with you, and this is also what Richard Branson said. He said,
Yep.
not customers come first, but your employees come first, right?
Absolutely.
Because if you treat them well, they will treat your customers well also and look after them well.
Spot on.
I see Shahzad Khan from the Netherlands. He has joined our discussion, and he says a nice differentiation between sales and business development. Wonderful, Shahzad. Thank you for joining our show. Now, you have mentioned LinkedIn in one of your explorations here. And it is remarkable for me, because LinkedIn brought us together, of course.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. And LinkedIn, it is remarkable for me that you say that you also rely on the human connection. Now, you have, if I may say that, I mean, everyone can look at it up. You have over 200,000 followers right now, and it is very remarkable to hear from you, from someone who is a superpower connector in LinkedIn, to hear that the human connection is so important. Now, Josep, you cannot have a human connection with 200,000 people. Is that right?
Well, see, I completely agree with you. It is not possible to have a personal, direct human connection, like one-on-one, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
because there is no way. There is no way. I mean, forget 200,000. Like, the connection limit on LinkedIn is 30,000 people who you can be first connections with, right? It is impossible, in my opinion, that you can remember 30,000 people in your lifetime. It is absolutely impossible. It is not possible for you to have even met each and every one of them personally on a one-on-one basis. Now, I'm not talking about people who might have heard you speak at events or etc. etc. No, I'm not. That is not the connection I'm talking about. But that is where it is essential that you need to be consistent with the delivery and the content that you're producing, and that you're putting in front of your audience, so to speak. And that is where that's where that connection comes in. Like, I have had the privilege and the honor to having some people from around the world who I have known only because of LinkedIn, and they have become amazing friends, confidants. They have become, business partners in a couple of situations. I have strategically sort of, worked with them on specific projects, both on a personal as well as a professional nature. I have done consulting work with a few people who I've met on LinkedIn or through LinkedIn, so to speak. And, it's just given the opportunity for me to be able to connect with some amazing people from around the world, which otherwise I would never have been have never had the opportunity to connect with. For example, like you. I mean, I've never been to Germany in my life, even though I'm a huge fan of Germany. Just so you know, Ilkay, I'm a big football fan. I'm not going to say soccer. I'm going to say football because that's how it is. So I'm a huge German football fan, if that makes sense. And I've always wanted to visit Germany. I've visited Europe on a couple of occasions, but I haven't been able to visit Germany. So there was no way that we would have otherwise crossed paths if not for LinkedIn. So,
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
and that's where the human connection comes in, right? I mean, when you reached out and requested me to be on your show and have a chat to basically sort of discuss both our journeys and, with both our combined networks, so to speak, I was like, absolutely. And that is what one needs to do to further that human connection moving forward. Like, for example, and that's one of the main reasons a lot of people who do follow me would know that I use a hashtag called #HumanCRM. Mm-hmm. Now, that is a hashtag which is actually, that's a sort of name which was given to me by a friend of mine from Melbourne, actually, when I was on her podcast last year. And while we were discussing, she was like, you're so good at connecting with people from around the world. You're basically like the human CRM. And I was like, I love that. I'm going to use that hashtag from now. And that is the most important element. You need to be genuine in the way you present yourself. Like, your online persona needs to be the same as your offline personality. The biggest feedback, or the best feedback that I've ever gotten from someone who I have met for the first time in person, who I've only been connected through LinkedIn prior, is when they have told me saying, Joe, you're exactly the same in person that you're online. And that is that's the biggest form of accolade that you can get, that anyone can get. And that just shows that, your personal branding exercise that you are doing. And that is something which everyone needs to focus on. I can't stress that enough, because whatever you do online is basically deepening your digital footprint. Whether you are a consultant, whether you are an entrepreneur, whether you're a senior leader, whether you're an executive leadership, whether you're a CEO of a company, whether you're wanting to start your own business, your digital footprint matters. And that is something which you can never get rid of. So just make sure that whatever you're doing online, I'm not just talking about LinkedIn, I'm talking about on any social media, just make sure that your actions align with your values. And that is the most important element. And when your actions align with your values, people will resonate with you, and people will have that connection with you on an intrinsic basis, on a subliminal basis. And that is what differentiates leaders from wannabes, because it's not a shortcut. There are no shortcuts to success. You have to be consistent with what you're doing, and need to be making sure that whatever you're doing is the same through and through for the entire length of your journey.
Very well said. Very well said. I couldn't even express it even better than you. With my own following, I mean, I have a tenth of what you have. Yeah, so I admire really you building up your followership, and it is indeed the deep personal relationships come also with the amount of followers. So I have. Unfortunately, during the pandemic, I couldn't meet many people in person, but still,
Yep.
I could meet this year about 100 people in person
There
during
you go.
some LinkedIn locals
Uh-huh.
in different cities. That was prior to the pandemic, but
Yep.
also I have get to know many fantastic people, and we are doing Zoom calls or lives like with you. So keep on, building up your following and your network. It doesn't mean that your posts or your, let's say, content will resonate with everybody. Yeah,
It's
not
not
everybody
possible.
is
Not
not
possible.
everybody is also all the time on LinkedIn, but
Correct.
those people that will resonate with your content, you will get with them into a deeper relationship. Okay,
Absolutely.
let's check some of the comments. So Shahzad says, in a B2B, new business development, trust
Mhm.
plays an important role. Absolutely correct. So how built up, especially during COVID crisis when we can't meet in face to face? What's your stance on this?
Sorry, in B2B, okay, business development, trust. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, see, it goes back to the age-old concept of the know, like, and trust, correct? You can't start at the trust factor if your audience doesn't know you. It has to go in sequence. So you need to first get yourself out there to your network in whichever way that you want to do. I mean, whether you're an online marketer, whether you are an executive, whether you're a consultant, whether you meet people and your services are delivered online or in person, etc. People need to know you first. And that is essential. So what do I mean by know? People need to not just know what you do. Always remember, people do not do business with people because of what they do. They do business with people because of who they are. I actually did a post about this earlier today. And that is essential with regards to the know factor. People resonate with your personal values, what you stand for, who you are as a person. So that is what you should focus on so that people get to know you as a person a bit more. If they want to know about what your services are, what your company does, they can Google it. Okay.
Yep.
They don't need you to tell them. Simple as that. Because the more you, in my opinion, more you tell people, this is what I do, this is what I do, that is basically you are just, being a pushy salesman, in my opinion.
Self-promoting all the time.
Self-promoting, and no one likes that, right?
Yeah.
And no one likes to have someone in their ear all the time. So after that no part, you need to have that consistency throughout that process, which will ensure that moving forward they start liking your approach and liking you as a person. How can anyone like you if they don't know you in the first place? And the moment they like you, and because you are consistent and you are consistently doing the same thing over and over again and providing value in some way to your target audience, is when people will start trusting you. Yeah. So it is a conjoined, it is a connected experience, so to speak. You can't just hope someone to trust you if they don't know and like you. And that is one of the main reasons as to why, and this has got nothing to do with any of the marketers here on LinkedIn who are talking about, let's say, for example, foreign exchange or Bitcoin, etc. I'm sure each and every one of us get these messages all the time from people outside our networks saying that, yeah, blah, 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 Bitcoin mining, etc. This is what I do. What are the chances? Honestly, what are the chances of anyone literally, being able to get business from that if you don't even know who that person is, right? I mean, I was listening to this webinar a couple of days ago, and the person presenting made a very, very important point. In the past, even like 5 years ago, the number of touch points, and that is based on market research, the number of touch points that one needed to be able to make a decision and to trust a person or a product to be able to make that purchasing decision was 6 6 to 6.5 times that you needed to have that, product or service or brand up in front of your face. Now, with the advent of technology, that has blown out to 26 times.
Yeah.
So what are the chances of you basically making a decision when you don't know who that person is? You've never interacted with that person. So there is no way you can actually build a trust factor if you've not been able to build the know and the like factor. And that is so, so important that people need to keep in mind.
Yeah, I made a note of that. Actually, this I need this for my acquiring calls because this is what we are doing in LinkedIn mentoring. We are getting the numbers of touch points up.
That's so important. And the only way you can do those touch points and you can bring those touch points up is by engaging. And trying to providing value and connecting meaningfully.
And also content creation. And this is what I wanted to offer to Shahzad and recommend to him is, I know his context. He's coming from construction engineering company. And what we would like to do and what I would like to see, Shahzad, is having you on LinkedIn presenting those services that you have and increase the touch points. And we can do that together. Okay, let's move on. Then Diane, she's still on. That's very great. She says, super power connector, very smart. Yes, Joseph is a power connector. Marian, she's from Serbia. She says, I think having the essential 20 people that you connect is important. They then refer to those in their circles, breaking down people to different business categories. 20 could be enough. Very, very well said. This is actually what I experienced also, Marian. Once I started my journey here on LinkedIn, it was tough to get the first, let's say, 5 to 10 clients. But then words are spreading, words of mouth, and you were recommended to others. Then it became, let's say, an accelerating exponential curve. Absolutely correct. Then Jared Wu says, hi, I'm Jared Wu from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Wow, that's cool. So we have right now to Singapore. Joseph, I have now 8 hours time difference with you. What is my time difference to Kuala Lumpur, I would imagine?
It's the same.
It's the same time. You're on the same time zone. That's wonderful.
Same time zone, yeah.
So, well, I believe either I'm a marketeer or in business, the word credibility and trust are equally important. Correct. Yes. You have to be credible in both functions. Once I lost my credibility, trust is gone. Absolutely. And like, who was it? Was it Bosch, Robert Bosch, who said it takes 20 years to build up trust and reputation? No, it was Warren Buffett actually, and it takes you only seconds to break all the trust and reputation. Absolutely. Right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So then we have a LinkedIn user. Unfortunately, we can't see your picture. Excellent points. Thank you so much, generously sharing from your knowledge. So it's someone from your network. There's so much value at this platform. You are so appreciated for making a difference. Thank you. This is a very good appreciation. When your actions align to your values, people will resonate with you. Absolutely true. We've discussed that. And Jared once again says, as an international sales manager, I must be credible to my clients. Should I lose the trust due to whatever reason, it would be the first and last business deal your client will deal with you. Absolutely correct. And we've all experienced that. Sometimes involuntarily, because, for example, there was a product claim. Yeah, it can happen. People lose the trust in the product, but the people should never lose the trust in you as a person. And therefore, I believe, for example, product claims are a very good relationship strengthener if it's dealt in the right way. Okay, very well. Very nice. Thank you so much, Joseph. This is a wonderful session with you to talk to a like-minded person in business development.
Absolutely.
From a strategic nature, and that with a human touch. I love that a lot with a human connection. So I'm coming to the end of our life here, and my final question always, Joseph, is what would be your CTA? If you have a final CTA, what would be your call to action to our audience?
Well, see, I mean, I personally don't have a call to action because, I'm not going to do a call to action because I use LinkedIn as my personal branding tool, so to speak. And people know who I am, what I do. I deal in strategy and sales and marketing and go-to-market strategies for both MNCs as well as SMEs from around the world. So if you feel that I might be able to, add some value to whatever you're doing, please feel free to reach out to me. I do have a full-time job, plus I also do a lot of independent consulting work, with companies, MNCs, as well as SMEs from around the world. So if there's anything I might be able to assist you with, please feel free to reach out. But the call to action, which I'd like to actually provide to each and every one of you who's watching, is just be you. That's the most important element. Don't try to copy someone else, right? You're not going to be, if you may try to copy Gary Vaynerchuk, for example, or Bill Gates or whoever else. There is no point in trying to be the second-rate version of someone else. Try to be the best version of who you are, and that is the most important element. And just focus on being you. Focus on basically providing value to your clients, because follow the Pareto principle, but use it in an inverse manner. That's what I always suggest to everyone. What do I mean by that? People think that because LinkedIn is supposedly a professional platform, forget the professional element about it. It is still a social networking platform, correct? And you need to use LinkedIn as such. I see a lot of people making a big mistake who are consultants, and they may be right in their own way. It's just my opinion. They keep on talking about their products and their services all the time. Stop doing that. Okay. Instead of doing 80% of your content based on what your products and services are, make only 20% of your content with a call to action regarding your services. Make 80% of basically resonating with your own personal musings of who you are as a person, what you stand for, what your values are, and basically how you've been able to provide value and give some free advice to your network, for example. That's how people will resonate with you. That's how people get to know you, like you, and trust you. Try to switch that around if you've been doing it the other way around, and see if that makes a difference. So that's the call to action which I would give to each and every one of you who may be watching, who may be entrepreneurs, business leaders, executives from wherever you are in the world. Try to switch it around. Try to showcase more of who you are as a person, the value that you bring yourself. And there is one thing that Ilkay actually said right in the beginning, which I'd like to just very quickly bring a spotlight back onto. You mentioned very, very clearly that you focus on a niche market. That is so important. Don't try to be the jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Okay. Try to focus on one particular niche and be a master at it. Simple as that. So that when people think about who it is that they can recommend from somewhere in the world, the first name that pops up in their head is your name, whatever you do. Because if you don't focus on a niche, there are thousands of other people who can replace you in the products and services that you intend to provide. But for example, during our conversation, I got to know that Ilkay, with his business, obviously he coaches people and he coaches senior leaders to become better with their personal branding and their presence, etc. Apart from also having a business in the past with regards to lightweight products and stuff, technologies, right? So I know for a fact if something ever comes up with regards to someone looking for a consultant to focus on that specific niche, Ilkay's name will come up to mind. And because I've had that connection, I've had that conversation with him now, and through our interactions on LinkedIn, I am more, I'm more likely to recommend him. So that is where it is so important. Don't just lie in the shadows of your LinkedIn profile. Go out and connect to people. Go out and have a chat with them. If they're in the same country, go out and have a coffee with them. If it is allowed, especially with this COVID situation at this moment, or just get on a Zoom call. Get on a 15-minute Zoom call. Get to know the other person. That's the only way that someone will resonate with who you are as a person. That's the only way someone will recommend you to someone within their circle. So keep that in mind. Keep building those relationships and keep being you.
Yeah, absolutely great recommendations from your side, Josep. And I also would add on this one, it's also easier because my coaches
Mhm.
ask me also how I do this, how I do that, how I appear here, I appear that. I say appear as you are because
Yeah.
apparently you are successful in a real world in presence. You
Hmm.
just transform it to LinkedIn to the digital world, and you are
Hmm.
fine. You don't need to copy anyone, as you said.
Yep.
Wonderful. Okay, Joseph, we have two more comments or one more comment from Diana. Diane,
Hmm.
she says, so great stuff. Yes, be yourself. Best message, give love and good content. Absolutely
Thank you.
fine. Okay, with this in mind, then, thank you so much, everyone, for joining our live today with Joseph. I hope it was valuable to you guys. If you have hopped on at a later stage, we have discussed today business development in a strategic way, in a human connecting way. So you will have this in a replay on my profile. Go into the activities. You will find this in the replay, or simply go on YouTube. I have a backup on YouTube as well. We will put all the links around this post. Thank you, Joseph, for the time.
Pleasure.
Now it's 11 in the night in Singapore, but you still feel like you just woke up. How do
Yeah,
you
it's
how do
it's
you how do you stay so energetic at this time?
it's my LinkedIn time. So I'm awake till about 1 2 a.m. in the morning. I
Okay, so
spend yeah
you are
I
like an owl like me, a night owl we call it.
I am a night owl, but I wake up at 6:30 in the morning. So yeah,
Ah, okay. So very short night for you guys.
pretty
Okay,
much.
thank you so much. I will now put my outro in, and just wait a second, and we'll have a out briefing. Bye, everyone.
Thank you very much, everyone, and thanks, Ilkay.